Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k, Rogue Trader. As today we try to shape up and ship out. Let's see what floats our boat. Deep shadows of weariness can be seen on Abelard's face, though the old officer's eyes are keen. They rake over you from head to toe. He frowns, mutters something, then nods to himself. Well then, your lordship. You cannot help but notice that the seneschal does not know how to talk to you, or where to begin. His hesitation brings an involuntary smirk to your face, as though someone else entirely is gloating at the old officer's confusion. Seeing your smile, Abelard pulls himself together. You must now hold your first officer's briefing in your new role as Lord Captain. For many of those who are about to join us on the bridge, this will also be their first briefing. We sustained massive losses among the senior and middle-ranking officers. Some posts have had to be filled by the deputy's deputy's deputy, while others go unfilled entirely. And now the deck clans are deciding who will take over the leaderless crews. How'd this happen, Abby? Don't we normally have some sort of contingencies in place to protect the officers during disasters? It would appear the heretics were deliberately targeting the vessel's command. They knew exactly whom they were looking for and where they could be found, which is unsurprising given that their informant on board was our own Master of Whispers. Abelard grimaces. Yeah, speaking of whom, any luck on tracking that rat down? That's one loose end I'd really rather not leave dangling. Abelard grits his teeth. No, Lord Captain. In all the commotion, his trail went cold. Our people are still on the hunt for him and any mutineers who may still be skulking in the ship's many corridors. But, frankly, I would not be surprised to hear that we are now one shuttle short. I'm afraid that it will be some time before he answers for all that he has wrought. Not what I wanted to hear, Abby, but I guess it is what it is. What else you got for me? Reports on the condition of the ship and crew. The Lord Captain is not usually drawn away from her important affairs to attend such routine briefings, but this is a unique situation. I am still receiving updates from across the ship, and they are not encouraging. Getting this bird to fly could take a gargantuan effort, even so far as you personally negotiating with the authorities of the system we are currently in. So prepare to hear a bevy of complaints and excuses, your lordship. Take this opportunity to get a good look at the officers who work 6 decks away from the bridge. And they, in turn, will have the honor of beholding the visage of their new Lord Captain. All right, let's get this done. With a gesture, Abelard relays the order to the adjutants at the far end of the magnificent chamber. A dozen pairs of eyes bore into you, the expressions revealing restraint, joy, curiosity, and wariness. Attention officers! You have been granted an honor. Lord Captain Valen von Valancius will personally conduct today's briefing. Our most gracious Lord Captain is ready to hear your reports. So who am I looking at here, Abby? I recognize Raivor, but the rest are new. Ah, of course, your lordship. Abelard points to a tall, slender woman whose body seems to contain as many implants as it does flesh. Vigdis Suri Atta of the Ptolemy line, our new Vox Master. It is an honor to serve, your lordship. The Vox Master offers a deep bow. Aboard this vessel, you have at your command thousands of crew members and hundreds of officers and section chiefs. I am responsible for receiving, processing, and sending all communications between you and them, as well as external sources. I am your eyes and mouth, Lord Captain. Beside her is Ravor, the Master Helmsman. He steers our ship along the course set by the Lord Captain, and monitors the void around us, to ensure that we do not stray into an asteroid field or a pirate trap. The bearded man with pale, almost transparent skin, large dark circles under his eyes, and a dour expression that seems hardwired into his face, gives a sullen nod. "Hail, Lord Captain. This here ship's as good as home to me, so rest assured she's in safe hands. I'll die before I let her come to any grief." And lastly, our high factotum, Janris Stanrock, who oversees supplies, procurement, and the general material well-being of the ship. Dressed in an embroidered jacket, the heavy-set man with oiled hair offers an obsequious smile and bows. "It is an honor, your lordship. You may trust me with all matters concerning your comfort. Everything will be done to the highest standard." In the second row, we have the 3 officers charged with overseeing the ship's vital functions. The Master of Ordnance is responsible for the artillery aboard, the Infernus Master, whose crew work to prevent and extinguish fires on the ship, and lastly, the Drives Master, servant of the Omnissiah. The 3 officers salute you. The Infernus Master does so with confidence, while the Master of Ordnance betrays nervousness. The Drives Master offers a salute resembling a dance, involving the complicated manipulation of all the Tech Priest's mechadendrites. This can't be everyone. Abby, this ship's over a mile long. We must have more officers. What about Al? Unfortunately, our choir master, the esteemed Zachary Wise, head of the Astropath section, is unable to join us. He is in charge of communications with distant star systems. Master Wise has been in a trance for some time now, attempting to contact other planets in the Von Valancius Protectorate and inform them of Lady Theodora's passing and Conrad Voigtveer's treachery. I will deliver a report to your lordship on the Astropath's progress as soon as it is possible to do so. All others present are adjutants, secretaries, and deputies. They're here to make a record of the proceedings. All right, fair enough. Infernus Master, you're up first. What do you got for me? Yes, Lord Captain. The tall young man bows his head in deference. I can report that all fires across all decks have now been extinguished. The preliminary damage assessment, in terms of material losses and crew casualties, has been completed. The results have been submitted to the Seneschal and the High Factotum. The post passed to him after the previous Infernus Master and his next 3 deputies expired in the line of duty, Abelard remarks in a low voice pitched for your ears only. The lad is managing well so far. He can take the heat, so to speak. Well, glad to see him all fired up. Danrock, you're up next. We are toiling day and night to compile a full account of the losses. The task will require next to no involvement from your lordship. I will personally ensure that all damaged components are given into the Tech Priest's hands for attention, and that all lost supplies are replaced. There is only one resource that I cannot replenish single-handedly, and that is people. We have lost more than 2,000 crew members, and unfortunately this number is not confined to the scum from the lower decks, which are easily replaced, but also includes trained professionals. We will be able to make up our losses on the nearest planet, Rykad Minoris. However, the planet, the whole system in fact, belongs to the Winterscale Rogue Trader dynasty. We cannot simply begin recruiting on the planet without first coming to an understanding with the governor. In that respect, I am powerless. Negotiations at this level are a matter for the Rogue Trader. Especially true, given Caligos Winterscale's penchant for attacking first and asking questions later, and the kind of thick-skulled thugs he usually installs as governors on his planets, rumbles Abelard, frowning. Understood. Drives Master? A voice distorted by a Vox retranslator emerges from under the tech priest's scarlet hood.
Lord Captain, the foes that set upon this noble void ship destroyed the repositories of hundreds of machine spirits. The great warp engine entrusted into my charge is unharmed, thank the Omnissiah, but its spirit mourns its dead brethren. We have not yet identified a prayer protocol capable of assuaging its sorrow and anger. With great sorrow, I must also report that the Engineer Prime, Overseer and spiritual authority of all tech priests on board, fell in battle. The Magos was betrayed by the little flesh that remained part of him, a most terrible loss. There is no one among my comrades aboard whose experience and comprehension of the sacred protocols equals that of the fallen Magos. We require a replacement, and as soon as possible.
Right, so we need a new Engineer. Got it. Thank you. The tech priest bows her head. Ravor? Right you are, Lord Captain. To cut a long story short, the outlook is bleak. The ship's sound, more or less, but without our Engineer Prime and Navigator, who fell in battle, we have no way out of the system. If we try to set so much as a toe inside the warp, I don't know what'll happen first. Our warp drive being torn to pieces, or all of us melting into the bulkheads. Your Lordship, if you will allow me to interject. When we arrived in this system, my crew followed standard protocols and conducted a count of all the available communication channels in the region. One of them was a Navis Nobilite station. The station maintains complete Vox silence, but even its presence here inspires hope. To have located a navigator in the very same system is an incredible stroke of luck. A true blessing from the God Emperor. A sharp bolt of pain lances through your skull, as if in response to what you just heard. You understand that this is not the God Emperor you should thank for such good fortune. The words of the daemon that appeared before you during the translation to real space echo in your mind.
I am the will of the Weaver of Destinies, and today I will weave a new thread of elusive possibilities and fickle chances. The thread that will lead you out of the maw of irreversibility. The thread that will help you find the keys to salvation.
That's probably fine. If I were you, I'd grab this chance with both hands, or else you'll soon be eyeing up asteroids to use as your new residence. In slightly less shitty news, we can go round and round this system till our heads are swimming, as long as the promethium and the supplies last. And if any thick as grok shit lowlives come sniffing around, we'll be able to take them out. So don't you worry on that score. Well, that's something at least. Master of Ordnance, anything to add? The Master of Ordnance gives you a gloomy look. No, my job's simple. Maintain the arsenal and fire where I'm told. But just ask anyone. We've got no able crew, no Lord Captain. Master of Ordnance, you forget yourself. So what? Comes the officer's hostile and bitter reply. It's as if a dam has burst inside, and all his pent-up emotions are rushing out of him. The ship's in ruins, every second officer's dead, and now we've got a green Lord Captain who's supposed to lead us to void knows where. Silence! The bridge's magnificent glass panes seem to tremble under the force of Abelard's roar. Enforcers, seize this mutineer! Abelard grunts. If only one officer out of the whole lot has fallen to pieces, then that's not bad at all. Your Lordship, I do humbly apologize on behalf of the entire crew. What would you have us do with the Master of Ordnance? The former Master of Ordnance, I should say. Besides find a replacement, that is, for we already have one lined up. Abelard, stand down. Look, we've all been through a lot. Master of Ordnance, I'm giving you a pass this time, but let's Let's make sure this doesn't happen again. Abelard stares unblinkingly at the Master of Ordnance. Cease your sniveling. You disgrace yourself and your entire clan. Enough. The hysterics are over. Let us resume. The Master of Ordnance stands up, wiping blood from his broken nose. His face is the picture of shock. What just happened seems to be dawning on him only now, and the knowledge of the fate he so narrowly escaped. Okay, so if I'm understanding these reports, we're down 2,000 men, 1 navigator, and 1 engineer prime. Is that it? Precisely, Lord Captain. But bear in mind that this will not be the end of our trials. The ship's systems must be properly inspected for major damage, which can only be carried out at Footfall Station, home to the only dockyard in the sector. But we will never reach Footfall without first solving these 3 immediate problems. Understood. So where'd we end up? What do I need to know about this place? I cede to the Voxmaster on this point. Mistress Tolliman? We are in the Rykad star system, and our voyage here was undertaken on the order of your lordship's predecessor. There are 3 inhabited bodies in this system, and our attempts to send Vox messages have produced confounding results. The Navis Nobilite station has not simply failed to answer, it seems to be maintaining total Vox silence. However, we did receive a distress signal from the prison planetoid in the system, and Rykad Minoris itself is also not responding to our hails. But what is most alarming is that our augurs have intercepted signals from the surface that seem to indicate ongoing hostilities on the planet. The situation is not very encouraging, but without a navigator, a tech priest, and new crew members, we won't be able to travel anywhere. Therefore, we must go to the planet and the Navis Nobilite station and find out what in the void is going on. Alright, guess we've got our work cut out for us. Let's get back to it. Dismissed. The assembled officers salute you as one. Your lordship, there is one other thing. A confidential matter of the utmost importance. Lady Theodora... Abelard hesitates. Your eternally esteemed predecessor brought the ship here to this system for a reason. She was given a secret commission. You perhaps are wondering who has the authority to commission a rogue trader to do anything? And I shall tell you. The Lord Inquisitor, the hand of the Emperor, the chief architect of his will in the Coronis Expanse. Yeah, already figured that out. One of the letters on Theodora's desk was instructions from the Inquisition. Signed, XC. Yes, quite right. XC. Xavier Kalkazar. Lady Theodora was to seek out the Lord Inquisitor's right-hand man, one Heinrich Sven Kalox. An interrogator, you understand? All I know is that he is somewhere in this system, that we must find him and offer him whatever assistance he requires, and then deliver him to Footfall in the Furabundus system. Finding him without any more information to go on will be difficult indeed. But an Inquisitor is an important individual. The authorities in the system, either the Navis Nobilite or the Governor of Rykad Minoris, may know something. That is all, your lordship. You have a great deal of work ahead of you, but it is a mere taste of the daily burden of a rogue trader. Soon you must take up the reins of the Von Valancius Protectorate. Abelard gives you another scrutinizing look, as if trying to gauge how long you will hold out under this mountain of problems. His face softens slightly, and it seems he is about to offer some words of encouragement. Adira, Sister Argenta, explain yourselves. The Sister of Battle grimly nods towards Adira. The Psyker is suffering some ailment, or dark madness. She insisted on seeing a rogue trader. I judged that it would be unwise to leave her unsupervised. For a brief moment, Sister Argenta's voice sounds hesitant. I was also hoping to approach you with a personal request, but it can wait. Speak with me when you have time, rogue trader. Adira's glazed eyes rove over those assembled. One word bursts from her lips. Daybreak. Daybreak. What's that supposed to mean? Adira, you're not making any sense. Damn it. Adira presses her fingers to her temples in desperation. Your lordship, here's the thing. I was trying to see the immediate future, and it hit me so hard. My head is still spinning. Something very strange is heading our way, and I can't make out what it is, no matter how hard I try. A single word is all I can make out. Daybreak. Or maybe it's dawn. And it's ringing and ringing like an echo, like a bell. But if it's daybreak, then why is it so dark? We cannot extract any information of value from a single word. Can you tell us anything else, Mistress Tomasz? No, not yet anyway. The voices are going berserk, all shouting at once. I can't make any sense of any of it. As soon as I know or sense anything, I'll report it, all right? Lord Captain, if you want me to take a closer look into your future, find me on the bridge and we can talk. Lady Theodora was well served by my whispers on many occasions, and I'm sure you would benefit from them as well. The Psyker's bitten lips stretch into a wry smile. Might just take you up on that. But if that's it, then I think we'd better get back to work. Am I the only one seeing all this blood dripping all over everything? That's probably fine. That's nothing to be concerned about. Anyway, let's hit the pause button real quick. I'm going to go grab some tea, soothe my throat, and then we will push on. See if we can round out the episode with something a little less talky, perhaps. We'll be right back. And we're back. As you can see, we've moved things into our posh digs. And there's a fair bit to look at in here, but we're not going to get bogged down with that just yet. For now, we are just here to pick a few things up. Starting with these. Our pre-order items. I'll be honest, nothing really spectacular here, but we'll put it all to good use. At least until it gets phased out. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some interesting items here. It's just that we'll end up finding much better items as we get out towards Act 2. For now, though, we'll toss the Laz ring to Valen. We'll toss the paired pistols to Argenta to give her some more close-quarters combat options. They are interesting. The persuasion bonus is obviously useless on Argenta, but the melting effect on hit certainly isn't. And then the heirloom auto pistol grants a couple of nice stat boosts, but also allows her to make offhand attacks even without the dual-wielding perk, which is potentially useful. The Blast Wave shotgun goes to Adira. It knocks back even on a miss, so it's great for keeping people off her. And then pretty much everything else goes to Abelard. Starting with the Wrath of St. Drusus, a unique chainsword which gives up its area attack in exchange for a damage-boosting debuff. We'll toss that in his primary slot so he swings with it when he charges. But we'll keep the standard chainsword in his off slot so he can still make area attacks once he's stuck in. And then he also gets the Xenopelt Cloak, which reduces damage from crits and also grants +10 coercion. Granted, he will not be our persuader/coercion character long-term, but he's the best we've got for now, so he gets it. Now, that's it for pre-order items, but we do actually have a couple of other items lying around Theodora's chambers. So let's check those out. Cracked data slate. And unfinished letter. I am intrigued. These weren't here in early access. Cracked data slate. N87204. The final transaction with the Chartists are complete. The fiery reckoning is now fully equipped. The object has been loaded aboard with its containment intact and placed in the forebay to ensure maximum contact with the target. Coordinates set and received by the bridge. Target's estimated time of arrival in the system. The fiery reckoning is crewed by a servitor hive. Chances of the ship returning are minimal. Estimated time. Huh. I am not really sure what to make of that. Interesting, though. The fiery reckoning. And unfinished letter. His chagrin is irrelevant. Voidvir's mistake cost me too much. Years of work, tremendous resources, all wasted. He has failed at what he was supposed to be irreproachable at, uncovering spies. And this one was a senior officer. I am not about to discard him. Conrad has served me for too long for his removal to go painlessly for the Protectorate. Besides, he is no fool. He could not have seriously expected to become the next in the von Valancius line, when his skills and talents as Master of Whispers are so valuable. Let his disinheritance serve as a humiliating but instructive lesson, from which he may yet learn. Ooh, interesting. A bit of insight into why Conrad was so bitter towards Theodora. Not, of course, that it matters to us. Nice to get some insight into his character, but dude tried to kill us, so we're not letting that slide. And we'll save the rest of this stuff for next time we're in here. Theodora? Now, we have two characters who signaled they'd like to talk, but we've already had plenty of talking today, so I figure we'll just do one. And between the two plot threads we were given, I feel like the glimpse of our future might be more intriguing and relevant to our immediate predicament. But we will try to talk to everyone eventually. We'll just pace it out between other things. The tall, middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at her temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps is on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, Adira turns her head toward you, and offers you a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Adira? Figured I'd take you up on that offer to read my future.
All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you.
Hey, there we go. Adira laughs, rubs her hands together, and suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face, her head slightly tilted. You feel goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, as if moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained.
Right, that's clearly our pending navigator. Also, the character most requested by the raiders, so definitely our first priority.
Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know that it is not the answer he must seek, but the question that will draw everything into focus. Will you help him, Rogue Trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion.
And that, of course, is our pending Exsellsior Prime. They all wear red robes, so that's kind of a dead giveaway.
A chained hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. The chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his master? Or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord?
The Inquisitor?
The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it?
Oh wow, I have no idea who that would be.
I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Adira strains to listen, then frowns and shakes her head. She shrugs sheepishly and sniffs. Yeah, don't sweat it. That was, not what I envisioned, but it was still very intriguing. So how's all that stuff work, anyway?
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
With noticeable effort, Adira focuses her eyes on you. Easy, Adira. Just gathering intel. But after what happened to Adelthred, you can understand why I might be concerned, right?
Lord Captain, there's nothing to worry about. I've been on this ship just short of 10 years. Would Lady von Valancius have kept me on if she wasn't sure about me? I mean, yeah, sometimes stuff happens. Small stuff. Like when I hear things. Sometimes what I hear is so clear it becomes real to me. But even ordinary folks have bad days, don't they?
Adira falters for a moment. Fair enough. I think we've all got a bad day or two in recent memory. So, what's it like? The whole psychic thing, I mean.
Lord Captain, forgive me. But it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you.
Adira tilts her head to one side, as though listening closely to something.
Every Psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it.
So just constant voices in your head. How do you stay sane? How do you know you're sane?
Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. You know, when life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
Sure. And that metaphorical door of yours, What happens if it does open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
You don't sound too confident there, Adira. So you're not at all concerned.
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
Alright, I guess you'd know better than I would. We'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Sure thing.
And we'll worry about the rest of this stuff later. Get them on our next pass. I'll leave you to it.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
And here's our first glimpse of the great beyond. Ooh, actually, we do have one other pre-order item. We have our ship. As aforementioned, I basically had to replay the first part of the game to ensure we had the pre-order items. And I figured, what the heck, while we're at it, might as well pick out a ship that's slightly more suited to my style. Thus, we have the RetconRaider. It swaps out the forward lance weapon for auto-loading plasma torpedoes, while replacing the rear mount turret with a slightly more limited dorsal lance. And then the sides are replaced with shorter range but higher rate of fire broadside cannons. This baby's basically made for strafing and hit-and-run tactics. I look forward to putting her through her paces, but sadly it'll be a while before our first ship battle. So, for now, we turn our attention to slightly more terrestrial concerns. We have 5 options on the table, and while it was a bit of a toss-up between Urak 5 and Rykad Minoris, the Raiders tipped the balance. We're headed for Urak 5. Lord Captain, reporting. The heralds of the Navis nobility continue to maintain Vox silence. Perhaps due to Urak 5 being off-limits to visitors, we intercepted signals from the beacons drifting in the station's orbit. The demands are clear. We are told to turn the ship around immediately. We have also detected an accumulation of space debris near the station's docks. Presumably it is the remains of interplanetary shuttles. Perhaps the esteemed Navis Nobilite House requires aid, and therefore cannot respond to our Vox transmission. Contact the station again. Tell them I want to talk to them directly. The Vox relays the cadent sounds of grinding gears and clicking tumblers. I am sorry, Lord Captain. The station does not reply even after an official greeting by a rogue trader and the declaration of your intent to negotiate in person. Scan the station. What are the augurs telling us? Yes, Lord Captain. The Vox remains silent for a while, but then you hear static and Vigdis's measured voice. The officers from the augur crew performed a full scan of the station, but the information is imprecise. They note wave distortions of unclear genesis that are throwing off most of the readings. We are able to ascertain that the reactor core of the station is still active, but many compartments are unpowered, and some fully depressurized. The signs of biological activity are largely present in the central module, which means the station has not been abandoned. So the question remains, why are the esteemed navigator's heralds ignoring us? Good question, Vigdis. Have the crew prep a shuttle. I'll go get some answers. Affirmative, Lord Captain. We do not know what is happening at the station, so you will have to look for the esteemed navigator's blind. Dock safely, and may the God Emperor light your path. I'm sure we'll be fine. Oh, kind of figured it would shoot us right in there, but fair enough. Hey, there we go. And once more under the breach. Flying from one disaster to another, the true rogue trader experience.
Pathetic worm. You dare to argue with your master?
It was not you whom I swore to serve within these walls. My lips are sealed.
Confess. What was the old man's last command? What are you planning?
Give up, Keeper. You have lost this battle. Again.
We're getting nowhere with these ones, sir. Permission to execute them.
Wretches! You will be consigned to oblivion for your transgressions against House Exsellsior. Immortal Emperor, deliver your servants from peril. Prayers will not help you, servant of the damned. In the name of House Exsellsior, I command you to execute the infidels. Really could have cleaned up those animations a bit, but... Not a step further. Master, we have some strange guests on the station. A tall man stops you with a gesture when you approach. Blood is trickling down the pearly scales of his weary face. And not just his own blood. Two jet-black, unblinking eyes are watching your every move. And the third one, the mark of a navigator's fate, is menacingly pulsing behind the lowered lid in the middle of his forehead. Step back, or I will unleash all the horrors of the Sea of Souls upon you. Emperor, be my witness. Abby, you want to handle this? The Seneschal takes a deep breath. Before you stands his lordship, the rogue traitor Valen von Valancius, heir to the greatest protectorate in the Coronis expanse, and bearer of the sacred warrant of trade. Allow me to point out that nobilite custom requires the Lord Navigator to introduce himself first. But given the, unusual circumstances on the station, his lordship the rogue traitor is willing to turn a blind eye to your hostility. But just this once. In this case, I too shall turn a blind eye to your unceremonious invasion. But just this once. There is a dangerous glint in the man's dark-shrouded eyes. Very well, allow me to introduce myself. Before you stands Felic Christoph August, keeper of this place. So you did not arrive to offer support to the traitors? This is great news. Having said that, you must understand that Urac 5 is a holy sanctum for House Exsellsior, and the path to it is only revealed to a select few. It pains me to say, you are not on the guest list. Fair enough. I'll be happy to leave. Just need a navigator for my ship. I don't suppose you have one to spare. I do not think this is possible. Urac 5 is an observation station. We do not sign contracts and do not provide navigators. We delve into the depths of infinity and chart the movements of the warp storms. And besides, Felix gestures at the disorder around him, you have chosen an inopportune time for negotiations. Yeah, I noticed that. But I had to ask. I don't suppose whatever this is has something to do with the Inquisition? One Heinrichs van Kalox? The Lord Inquisitor's interrogator? I think I would know if such an important individual decided to pay us a visit. But he does know of him. Interesting. Alright, well, I can't leave without a navigator, so what's with the corpses? Betrayal. A most banal thing in the life of the nobilité, don't you think? I was stabbed in the back by my closest friend, Theobald Orselio, the second keeper of Urac 5 and my mentor. On his instructions, my own people sabotaged the generators, blew up the shuttles, and brutally massacred the loyal servants of my mistress. Most unforgivably, they dared to take her prisoner. Greedy scum. I swear by the throne's light, their souls will perish in the darkness of the void. Felix falls silent for a few moments, and then furiously slams the end of his staff into the floor. The madmen have captured Lady Cassia, and are now torturing her upstairs while we are idly chatting down here. Help me rescue her or be gone, but waste no more of my precious time. We might be able to work something out. What do you need? I would never ask you for such a favor under different circumstances. And yet, Felix takes his hand away from his ribcage, notices blood, and winces in pain. And yet, Lady Cassia's well-being is above all. I haven't got many people left, and my wounds are too deep for me to act with precision and swiftness. But you may actually succeed. Well, gosh, thanks. I am a successor. Succeeding is kind of what I do. In order to ascend to the mistress's chambers, you will need to remake a holy relic sanctified with the blood of Lady Orselio herself. This is the control rod of the elevator machine spirit. I have one part, and the other was lost during the mutiny. But even this relic will be of no use unless the elevator mechanism is powered. How do you expect me to repair this thing? I'm not exactly a tech priest. I have a phylactery containing the mistress's blood. It needs to be taken to the laboratory, which is located behind one of the reliquary doors. The most ancient of sacred mechanisms will help to rebuild the rod. The tech priests ceaselessly perform the rites of appeasement, so that the machine spirit would serve the house in its time of need. The fateful hour is now upon us. And just to be clear, if I do this for you, you'll give me what I need? You came to this station for a reason. House Orselio will not be able to help you until the current crisis is resolved. But if you aid us now, I promise we will reach an agreement that you will find satisfying. Be it riches, influence, or the powers of our navigators. Sounds like we have a deal. So how do I repower the elevator? The station's main cogitator is situated in the guard room. Just enter the correct command sequence and the sacred mechanism will do the rest. Just that easy, huh? I assume there's some sort of catch? Otherwise you'd have already done it yourself. I never said the feat would be easy to accomplish. The path to the laboratory and the guard room is blocked by the very same madmen who took over this station. They will not negotiate, and are not afraid of displeasing the Navis nobilité or incurring the Emperor's wrath. They bow only to brute strength, something which I currently happen to lack. Yeah, I guess I could see that. So what have you decided, descendant of the von Valancius line? Not sure yet. I've still got some concerns. You mind if I ask a few questions? Our idle chatter will not save Lady Cassia. But if you need to be sure of something before you can help, so be it. Great, let's start with that. Tell me about your mistress. Regretfully, I am not allowed to discuss my mistress, whether with her retinue or the outsiders. She will tell you about herself personally if she feels like it. That is, assuming she survives. I am begging you not to waste any more of our precious time, for it is running out. You seem awfully sure about that. How do you know it's not already too late? How do you know they haven't killed her? A spark of concern flickers in the black pits of Felix's eyes. You may not believe me, but Lady Cassia is capable of... The navigator cringes, seemingly in pain, and furiously exhales. Incredible things. Not even the traitor Theobald can easily harness her power. So is he trying to kill her, or is he trying to harness her powers? What about the station? My augurs tell me this place is about to fall apart. The navigator irritably brushes away a strand of bloodied hair. Trust me, I should know. Everything happened too quickly. There were dozens of reports of accidents, victims, and failing systems. But the only precious thing aboard this station is Lady Cassia's life. Everything else is futile and can be easily replenished. If things are this bad, why didn't you call for help? Why not respond to our hails? I have already said Urac 5 is sacrosanct. It is the holy domain of the Navis Nobilite, and it is forbidden for commoners from the world below. We had hoped to solve the crisis on our own. But when the situation spiraled out of control, we could not establish contact because traitors had disabled our equipment. Alright, guess that answers that. Yes, I hope your curiosity is fully satisfied. Okay, so as a rogue trader and a crime lord, obviously we should be profit-minded, but there is a life on the line, and we do need that navigator, so... Okay, I think we have a deal. I'll save this mistress of yours, but I expect you to hold up your side of the bargain after. Felix nods curtly. You should hurry, then. We will stay here to hold the line and lick our wounds. Good luck, rogue trader, and may the Emperor's light be with you. Yeah, you too. Let's get a gander at what we're actually headed into. We've got a barricaded staircase with enemies on the other side. Sure, sure. Let's see what else we've got here. Address your questions to Master Felix. Ooh, free multi-key. And a pile of crystallized darkness. That's probably normal. And what have we here? The corpses were brutally mauled by an unknown force, their faces frozen in grimaces of terror. Shoot, I think we flubbed that check. Alright, well, we're past time, but I would like to squeeze in one combat encounter, so... White, bright, pure color. And it's all riddled with horrible veins that carry the poison of fear and pain throughout its body. Who are you? Why are you crying? If the witch is talking about the enemies of humanity who set upon this abode of noble navigators, then our weapons will soon dispel their wicked misery. Yes, let us do that.
An expected result.
Let's check the layout real quick. At the ready! The conspirators are trying to break through to the guard rooms! Oh ho, conspirators, you say? Though you are still marked as hostile, so we don't... Oh. Argenta? Thank you. Oh, and, yep, let's clear that too, just in case. Now let's make our approach. We'll scour the room after. And no real diplomatic options here. These guys are just clear-cut hostile, so let's take them out.
How may I serve the dynasty?
You will beg for mercy, but I will grant none. You dare cross the faithful?
And it is on. The right flank's open. And Argenta's up first, so let's get her on point. Oh, yeah, I think we've got a pretty good chance at dropping their commander here. Dude's halfway down the initiative track. Hey, nice. Bonus. And the commander's at 60. Fair enough. Went for an armor debuff, should have just gone for another burst. Minor ding on Valen. Nothing to worry about just yet.
But of course.
And light them up. Nice, nice. Now Valen should be able to drop the commander. And then Abelard gets the medic.
I'll see to it personally.
No, Valen. I should have moved up closer. Yeah, fair enough. I deserve that. Though, I mean, dude just ran out in the open. I think we're good. Abelard?
Follow my lead.
I'm sure you can cut this short for us.
It will be done.
Nice.
Indeed. I took care of this one.
And there we go. No harm done.
I will do my duty.
Well, To us, I mean. And now the stragglers.
There is movement in the Empyrean.
Oh, yes, that's pretty much perfect. That is so satisfying. And again, that is before we start stacking additional damage buffs on her. There's a bunch of ways we can amp that up. This thing's only got 4 range, so not much good right now. Abelard, let's get you back into the fray. Nice. That movement boost on the charge move is fantastic. That's a must-have on all my warriors. You tried. I'll still give you a shout-out.
Was it you? Or...
And thus it ends. Not much of a fight, obviously, but still nice to shake the rust off now and then. Not much in the way of loot. Actually, I'll sort this stuff out off screen. Gotta make sure there's nothing worth swapping in. Though, I mean, in some cases it's pretty obvious what we will and won't be using. Sadly, we are not going to be getting much use out of burst weapons this run. Our ultimate party composition is going to be 2 snipers, 2 melee,
backup plan.
and 2 psychers, which really does kind of streamline our arsenal. Anyway, we are well past time at this point, so yeah, I'm afraid we're going to have to call it here. We'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, and we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, Blindiron, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, Theory V23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.